Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
The Biden-Harris administration, in less than 3 months, has put America in jeopardy of never revitalizing our moral, social, and economic values ever again. This evil power must be stopped. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America. Come on, Patriots, call in with our Pledge of Allegiance. We need you more than ever. Good morning. And good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch on this Thursday, April 8th, and welcome to our program sponsored by our major sponsor, Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, and they are providing you with a great, big, huge spring tire sale. You better stop in and see any one of the 7 locations today. Along with our friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have a patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. And right now, let's go to the weather forecast. And I am kind of anxious to see how bad the winds might be today. I've heard conflicting stories, and we're going to find out about that in just a minute. K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn. Hello, Roger and the crew. They've got all your spring tool and equipment needs for any project. All your garden or lawn equipment, rototillers, and power rakes, lawn equipment, everything. All the tools to finish any kind of a task. And they've got them for rent on long and short term. So you check it out today. K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn, right on the Burley-Paul Highway. Here's Gina with the weather.
You might want to hold on to your hats today. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are going to be in a wind advisory. It's going to kick off at about 10 o'clock this morning and last until about 10 o'clock tonight. Gusts as high as 50 miles an hour and areas of blowing dust as well. We are expecting a high of 56. Tonight, that's going to continue, hopefully tapering off as we move into the overnight hours. Low of about 26, gusts as high as 40 miles an hour. By tomorrow, sunshine, high of 60, just a slight breeze. Clear skies for tomorrow night with a low right around 34. That's a look at your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Anything under 60 miles an hour would be a slight breeze on it. Hey, thank you very much, Gina. K&R Rental gives us the weather forecast right off the get-go when we start this program. Roger and the crew get there early in the morning to serve you and offer the rental of the best tools and equipment in any project you need to finish. Stop in. Check it out. Call 678-3122. K&R Rental. Easy to find on the Burley-Paul Highway. Wow, we got a lot of things to cover this morning, but first and foremost, I also want to acknowledge our dear friends over at Ramsey Heating and Electric. Oh, my goodness sakes. They also get there early in the morning, 7:30 to 5, Monday through Friday, and they're located at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Now, we're in the spring, and it's kind of warm one day, chilly the next, rain, snow. You never know what's going to happen. But be ready. because Ramsey Heating and Electric has literally all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs, and they have the sharpest of people to serve you. Very, very professional folks that have been in business with Ramsey's for a long time, and Ramsey's has been serving you for a long time, over 7 decades. Wow! The best of people, most knowledgeable at Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. One other quick note, too, and we want to give a great big shout-out to our friends over at Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner. Wow! I'm talking the best of food. I'm talking about breakfast, lunch, and dinner anytime, all the time at Denny's Restaurant. They pride themselves on some wonderful, fantastic new menu choices. Like, of course, you know they've got the delicious Super Slam breakfast. You know they've got the Big Dipper melt sandwich, tender pot roast with melted Swiss cheese. All of this and more at Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley. Thomas, Michelle, the whole crew, America's Diner, Denny's Restaurant. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Well, good morning to you, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
All you got to do is get in your pickup and head it this way, and the wind will blow you over here.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be a little bit gnarly out there this afternoon.
Our area's been picked to be the wind of the day, I guess.
Yeah. What can I do for you?
Well, this voting law that they passed in Georgia, in my opinion, is a good law.
Absolutely.
But why don't more states get behind him, like Governor Doolittle?
Yeah,
Why don't he say Idaho stands behind him?
I agree.
What kind of a coward is he?
Well, I think other states...
I know he's your friend.
No, now, just a minute, Keith. That a little bit insults me. I will let people know who my friends are and who my acquaintances are and who my associates are. But don't insinuate, please, my dear friend, that because Brad Little and I know each other, that I would ever shade the news in an honest fashion on this radio program, because I'm going to be very strict, very direct, and if I don't like something that's going to be done, I'm going to say it as it is.
Once again, I'll say, I'm sorry.
Okay.
And strike it from the record.
Okay. No, I agree with you. I agree with you.
What I was trying to get across is if more states would stand up for this, we'd have a better chance.
Oh.
Now, Delta Airlines and Coca-Cola and the rest of those thieves have taken our freedom away from us.
Yeah.
Now, for us to not deal with them and fly on their airplanes and drink their pop, if they start losing money, the government will subsidize them.
Well, you asked me.
Not lose.
You asked me yesterday about Jim Crow laws, and I told you that I'd expand a little. I'm not going to take a lot of time this morning on this because I really don't want to get into it that deep, but I will say the phrase Jim Crow law can be found as early as 1892 in a New York Times article, and the origin of the phrase Jim Crow has been attributed to Jump Jim Crow, a song and dance caricature of black people performed by a white actor back in the late right around 1828, etc. So they picked that name up and used it for some suppression of values or laws that might favor the blacks in the South. So that's where, and I think it's kind of a derogatory statement too. Jim Crow laws mandated racial segregation in all public facilities, and that was up until the 1870s. So I'm giving you a little background of the Jim Crow verbiage that Biden is using right now. But I want to say this. I've read the bill, Keith. I've read the election law bill that was passed in Georgia. And there is nothing in there that is Jim Crow or slanted to take away any voting rights from anybody. And I totally agree with you that governors of all the states that have tougher voting laws, even Joe Biden's home state of Delaware, they should be banding together and have the backbone to step forward and say, wait a minute, what was passed in Georgia is not anything out of the norm. I totally agree with you.
Well, the problem comes up that most of the people in America, if you did a poll today, if you ask them, does Jim Crow actually exist? And most of them would say yes.
Yeah.
Because this president that we have, who's not really a president, he's a damn dictator, and they'll believe anything that is told to them.
Yeah. This thing is getting completely out of hand with Kamala Harris, Biden, and this administration, and I make no bones about it. I don't like them. I do not want to see them stay in office for the tenure of 4 years. I think America will never come back from the throes of evil that they're laying on this country. And what's going on here? Let me give you another quick example, my friend, because this really makes me mad. Some very unknowledgeable, and I'm going to say very stupid, because they did not read the bill, pastors, ministers down in Georgia and the surrounding area have jumped on the Kill Georgia Voter bandwagon, and they have told the various church members and have told the press, these pastors have said that the corporations didn't go far enough in trying to pull out of various, like the Masters, the Major League All-Star Game. And here is the problem. These pastors did not read the bill. Some of them were interviewed after they have told their church congregations that they should absolutely throw their hands up and disavow this Georgia election law. And when they were asked if they read the bill and understood the bill, they said, well, we haven't yet.
That's the problem. We listen to the news, but we're really not paying attention to what's going on.
Amen. Amen. I cannot personally stand anybody, I don't care who it is, that yells, screams, and hollers for change and points their finger and condemns and damns something, and they never took the time to read the bill or understand the subject.
These are not my words, but this is what was said on TV. 10 Republican senators met with Biden, and you know what he told them? Why don't you just get lost?
I don't have a verification on that, but I've heard rumors of that same statement.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, I know, Keith, but I'm just saying I don't have a verification on it for myself. We are living in times that I never thought would happen. Biden said, unity, 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 before he took over as president. He said, yes, sir, there's going to be unity in my administration. He's caused more divisiveness in almost 3 months than any other president I can recall.
Well, this is what Biden ought to take for his slogan. Don't listen to other people, listen to me.
Yeah. I got to run, Keith, but I always appreciate your stimulating open to the program. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. God bless you. Thanks. Hey, don't forget Dino Septic Service. They are all over Idaho. Southern Idaho is pretty well served by Dino Septic Service. The very best of septic tank pumping, septic tank and drain fields installed, backhoe services, mainline irrigation installation and repair, septic inspections. Oh, my. You give them a call today. Where do you call? I'll tell you. In the Rupert area, 436-6526, Burley, 678-1638, and in Twin, 735-8281. They are the best at what they do with the most modern of equipment, Dino Septic Service. You get a hold of those good folks today. Want to remind you that big things are going on up in Salmon this weekend. at the Lemhi County Fairgrounds. It is the 48th annual Salmon Select Horse and Mule Sale at the Lemhi County Fairgrounds. And, of course, the mule sale is tomorrow night, Friday night, and that's going to start at 5 p.m. And then on Saturday, the big horse sale at 2 p.m. Idaho's premier horse and mule sale. Contact the office up there for information before you drive up. If you need some info, 756-2125, Fred Snook. Or you can go to their website, salmonselectsale.com. It's a big one. It's a good one at Lemhi County Fairgrounds in Salmon, the 48th annual Salmon Select Horse and Mule Sale. All right, calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I am not going to be cautious. I am not going to be careful. I'm just going to tell it like it is. The Chinese government is an organized club of liars, killers, cheats, and evil in general. What they have done to the world is not forgivable. What they are trying to do to the world is satanic. And yet, some of our own people in this country relish the opportunity. Now, you think about this, and it's true. Relish the opportunity to praise the Chinese and make or try to make big money deals with them. One person in particular, and I have voiced my complete disdain for him many times on this program, is a uneducated, sinister force of wickedness, and I'm talking about NBA's LeBron James. LeBron James has said many things that are extremely racist against the whites in our society. He is, like I said, a sinister force of wickedness. He has praised China and denigrated his own United States of America. Now, listen to this. He is also one of the mouthpieces that was pressuring Rob Manfred, the commissioner of Major League Baseball, to pull the All-Star game out of Atlanta. That's how much power LeBron James has because of his mega millions that he has from playing basketball. He's not a smart man. He's not a very well-educated man, but he plays basketball and has been well paid for his athletic ability. Now, with that athletic ability, evidently it transcends into mental powers far superior to any of us. And he's considered respectful to tell people, organizations, and the world what to do? What to do? I'm going to say this, and I mean it. I think LeBron James is a traitor to the United States of America and our values. He and others like him have, I think, gone way overboard with their abilities, their mental capacity, even though they're paid a lot of money for athletics, like I said. Now is being respected as a mouthpiece to pressure people into what to do and what not to do. This is ridiculous. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. We got to tell you about the Bennett Boys sale. Come on, folks, don't weaken on me. I love to have you call. I love your opinions, so give me a jingle. I'm going to tell you a little bit about a sale that's coming up on Saturday. I've got to get this in. Herman Kruger Estate Auction, and it's going to be over in Jerome at 11 o'clock this Saturday morning at 403 West, 50 South of Jerome. Look for the auction signs, lunch by the Cook Shack. They're going to have pickups, travel trailers, Jeep, four-wheelers, tractors, loaders, farm machinery, all kinds of real good shop equipment and furniture and household. Oh, it's going to be a good sale. Managed by the Bennett Boys Auction Service. No sale too big, no sale too small. The Bennett Boys, they sell them all. Joe Bennett and the crew, they really do a good job. All right, callers, it's your turn. It's Thursday. Don't leave me hanging on the limb here. I want to hear from you, so give me a jingle if you would, please. And we'll talk about LeBron James or anything else you want to visit about this morning. One thing I got to tell you, and I stopped dead in my tracks. I was walking out of the living room last night when this came on television, and I thought, you have got to be kidding me. But it was for real. Little bitty Pete Buttigieg, the transportation secretary, says, quote, there is racism built physically into America's infrastructure. What? Yeah, I mean, I absolutely almost tipped over on my crutches there. He said that the history of racist systems and practices has been built into our transportation system in America. I certainly did not know that roads, highways, freeways, bridges, etc. had the capability of being racist. But according to Pete, Little Pete Buttigieg, yes, they are. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Well, you mentioned that infrastructure bill. I mean, almost, I think, 6% goes for bridges and roads. The rest of it's basically the Green New Deal.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable. It's just a pork bill on steroids.
Adrian, let me ask you this. With almost 95% of the trillions on trillions of dollars that Biden is asking for, most of the people that have listened to and understood what the pork is going into that bill, it's going to be for social engineering. Those are the two words that really are more dominant in that bill. And when you start talking about social engineering, right away red flags go up with me, because I see that as like in the classroom, critical race theory. I see that as more people promoting racism and trying to stymie free speech. Do you agree with me or not?
Oh, absolutely. But in addition to that, they're going to continue to push this hoax that carbon dioxide is killing the planet. Mm-hmm. We've got to give up our cars. We've got to quit eating beef. We've got to do all of these things because the cows have too much flatulence and so forth. And it's part of the deal. And it is the biggest hoax ever perpetrated on the planet. And as I've said here before, the best layman's way to look at how little CO2 is in the atmosphere is look at a 100,000-seat football stadium, and carbon dioxide at 410 parts per million would occupy a total of 41 seats in that 100,000. That's all that's in the atmosphere. Our poor plants are starved for CO2, and they want to reduce it. It's just ridiculous. It's just ludicrous. It's just like the breaching of the dams. I mean, these ideas are so ludicrous, and yet they're doing everything moving heaven and earth. The hypocrisy, of course, is Lurch and, John Kerry and their private jets and so forth. But you're exactly right, Bill. I mean, not Bill, Deb. You have a situation where we have got these people out there preaching one thing, but they're doing just the opposite. Look at Newsom in California. These different governors have been caught violating their own rules, and yet we still are supposed to be masked down, and the CDC said masks don't work. By their own research, 100 days of comparing mask and no mask. It's just lies and upon lies.
Well, let me jump in here.
Stop.
Let me jump in here and say that part of Biden's infrastructure plan, and these are not my words, this was written by some of the people that studied this plan. They said part of Biden's plan is to help communities secure better infrastructure, and live in an environmentally safe place. And my rebuttal to that would be, it's impossible. If people are given something and they don't have to pay for anything, they're not going to take care of anything. And look at Chicago. Don't tell me that these people can't pull themselves up by their own bootstraps and be much more coordinated towards living in a society of not killing each other and destroying and burning. Give me a break. Just because you're going to throw money at something doesn't mean it's going to turn into an environmentally safe place.
Well, Zeb, you remember years ago when they put up all of this free housing in different cities all around, and pretty soon it just was totally destroyed because the people had no investment in it, and they just destroyed those properties, and most of them have been imploded, and they're gone now. And, but now they're forcing these illegal alien children, a lot of them are young adults, into homes all over, and they may be busing right into the Magic Valley here. We have a refugee center. I wouldn't be surprised we'll see a busload or two show up here. And it's just sad. I mean, it's all about destroying this country. These globalists are so desirous to and so evil that they want total power over us, whether it be with this pandemic that's been blown out of proportion and the lockdowns and all of this. And it's just incredible that we just continue to go along with this stuff.
I agree.
We don't see a lot of pushback from our elected officials that take an oath. Their main duty is protect life and property, and they're not doing that.
Amen. I couldn't agree more. Whether it's Simpson or Crapo or Risch, I'd like to see them stand up on a desk and start ranting and raving about all that's going on bad at the border and try to do something about it. But you very seldom ever hear a word. I've got to run, Adrian, but thank you so much for your call.
Anyway, you have a great long weekend, and I hope you're doing okay health-wise, and I know it's no fun getting older, that's for sure, but I think we're kind of in the same ballpark. But
all right.
We need a lot of people to get involved. I would suggest read thenewamerican.com and look up jbs.org. If you want to join an organization that's been right on all the major issues since 1958, the John Birch Society, jbs.org. And we need more rowers at the oars to protect our constitutional republic.
I appreciate your call. God bless you. Have a good day. Yeah, this Pete Buttigieg, the transportation secretary, here's some of the comments that he made. Buttigieg described how communities of color often face poor infrastructure and disadvantages compared to other regions in the United States due to a history of racist systems and practices. And then he goes on to say there is racism physically built into some of our highways. And that's why the jobs plan is specifically committed to reconnect some of the communities that were divided by these dollars. I mean, no matter where you turn, no matter where you look, no matter where they are, every single day, and I dare you to tell me I'm wrong, there's a racism comment made by somebody in this Biden administration that makes us, the white community, oh, poor us, we're so sorry. And it's getting worse every single day. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning again. Could you give me the definition between infrastructure and interstructure?
Well, I don't understand what you're saying. Infrastructure is about all of our roads and bridges, highways, freeways, everything. Why? I'm not going to get it. Don't ask me to be a Webster's dictionary all of a sudden.
No, but I knew you knew that because any stupid people who don't understand that, I want them to know that infrastructure is your road and bridges and construction.
Absolutely.
But they've changed it to interstructure. That means anything.
Well, this Biden administration,
Do to us now.
the Biden administration absolutely is out of control. And when you have silly little people like the Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg saying that there is racism physically built into America's infrastructure, how do you build, Keith, here's a question to you, and then I'm going to take another call. How do you go about building racism into infrastructure? I mean, come on. This is insane what's going on.
Yeah, it's two different things. You take the arts, they call them, like music and stuff like that. If you love music, go to your concerts, pay your big money and everything, but stand on your own 2 feet.
Amen. It's about time everybody did that. Thank you, Keith. I appreciate it. God bless you for your call. Thank you.
You have a wonderful day.
I will, buddy. Hey, I want to remind everybody quickly before I take this next call about Wick Steak Place and Burnout Saloon, 18 East Main Street in Declo. They have got so many great things on the menu. I got to tell you, they've got fried pickles, and you're going to go, what? Yeah, they got fried pickles, and they are good. And they've got onion straws and loaded tater skins for starters. And then they've got all kinds of great entrees. I mean, we're talking about steaks and prime rib and lobster ribs. Oh, my goodness. Everything is one word. Delicious. At Wick Steak Place and Burnout Saloon, 18 East Main Street in Declo. They're open Wednesday through Saturday from 4 to closing time. I'm telling you, you will be with your friends at Wick Steak Place and Burnout Saloon. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. I find it interesting in my observations that the majority of these places that are mentioned where there are buildings that are in disrepair, we have the slums, we have people who are not as educated as other areas, they seem to be democratically run.
Well, imagine that. You don't mean to tell me that they are blue states run by blue mayors and possibly that's part of the problem.
Gee, I'm kind of putting 2 and 2 together and getting, actually with our type of math, 4, not Common Core, 5.
Well, you know, Sharon, I'm glad you called on this, but I would like to ask you the same question. When you have a Secretary of Transportation, this little Pete Buttigieg, that says, quote, and you got to explain this to me, there is racism physically built into America's infrastructure. How do you physically build racism into a bridge or a freeway? Tell me, please, explain that to me.
Yeah, there's no way that is an actual true statement, but we're finding a lot of the stuff that we're getting out of the Democrats are not true statements, but they are twisted to make it look bad for you and I.
Absolutely.
So that everybody's looking down their noses at you and I and saying, well, you guys must be the bad guys. It can't be us. It's not us. It should take responsibility for our own actions or lack thereof and do something about it.
Absolutely. Part of the program, and they're saying at least 40%, listen to this, over 40% of the overall benefits of Biden's so-called infrastructure program are going to go to projects to disadvantaged communities. Now think about that for a minute and give me your reaction.
The Democratic state.
Yeah.
They're going to pay themselves. They're going to pay themselves to be in office to do the job they don't do.
You know, when you look at Chicago on the south side, and you look at the people that have been, over there for years and years, generations, shooting each other, robberies, carjackings, you name it. You know, is it my fault or Sharon Hardy's fault or anyone's fault that they live the way they do? Who really is in control of your environment? Tell me that.
Yourself.
That's right.
If they choose to stay there, that's on them. This is the problem that I have with people coming across the border. They've chose to leave instead of change and make it better.
Absolutely.
That's on them. This is the same way with any of the places, that we've got in this town, in this state, in this country. If we don't like the way it is, then it's up to us to rally enough people with like minds and ideas to make changes. And we pray that they are always for the better, not for the worse.
Let me throw something else at you.
People who have gotten money, garnered money and support, and they're making changes for the worse.
Yeah.
And the people that want change for the better are not standing up.
Let me throw something else at you real quick. The other day, there was a video of about a 10-year-old boy crying, standing on a deserted desert road close to the border, and our Border Patrol helped him. He said he was abandoned, etc. Then we saw another video in the last 48 hours of a little boy and his sister, both very young, 5 or 6 years old maximum, and they were also abandoned, didn't know where to go. Sharon, do you mean to tell me, or anybody mean to tell me, that whether it, from Nicaragua or El Salvador, wherever, that those two little kids, 5 and 6 years old, walked, fed themselves, and took care of themselves for 1,500 miles, all of a sudden end up on our border, end up on TV cameras so that the bleeding heart liberals can say, look, this is what Trump did and he caused. This is insane. This has got to stop, and it's got to start with the countries taking involvement with their own people and not shipping everybody up here.
Yeah, can we say child trafficking?
There you go.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. And my opinion is that this is what the Democrats are pushing for, because we've got a lot of them who are into that type of horrific things that are done to children. And so that's part of their welcoming committee. Oh, bring all the little kids in. We don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
We want new flesh.
Yeah.
And it's horrible, and it's frustrating that all of a sudden the kids that can be in school are these kids that are coming across the border, and yet our own kids who are here that we paid the tax money for the schools cannot be in school. Something's wrong with the picture tube here.
Well, the picture is wrong because we have the wrong administration running this country, and running is a very poor choice of words. They're denigrating this country instead of running this country.
Exactly.
God bless you. Appreciate your call.
Exactly. Thanks.
All right, take care. Thank you. Want to remind everybody about Berry Equipment and Rental, sales, service, and parts, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin with Eli, and the Napa location. I mean, they have got the equipment for the lifting and the digging and the pushing and the carrying and the grading and the leveling. I'll tell you what, they've got all the Doosan wheel loaders and excavators. Oh, and they've got super, super low rate financing. Excellent rental programs. Check it out today. All the Bobcats, the trenchers, the scissor lifts, it's all there at Berry Equipment and Rental. Burley, Twin Falls, and Nampa. You stop in and see those good folks today. I tell you what, this deal, enough is enough. Biden and Harris are as worthless as could be expected and are proving their nothingness every day. Don't anybody tell me or try to defend to me an administration that is allowing all these human misery stories to take place on the border. The cramped, absolutely inhumane method of putting them in cubicles, and they're like 700 to 800% overstocked with humanity. And these little kids standing on the border crying while we were abandoned, et cetera, et cetera. And here, good old Uncle Sam, the American government and its great people, we're going to hold the bag. We're going to take care of them. We're going to feed them. We're going to clothe them. We're going to house them. We're going to give them medical care. And we've got citizens in this country that are living under bridges and they have no optimism for the future, and we're not doing a thing to help them. This is insanity. I am saying today that the worthlessness of this administration. Biden hasn't been down to the border. No, he's so full of dementia and can't understand what's going on without a teleprompter, they won't put him down there. He turned the reins over to Kamala Harris, and she has been crisscrossing across the United States and will not go to the border. She will not go to the border. She will not make any statements about the border. She just is going to stand there and giggle, because that's all this woman is smart enough to do. Giggle! Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, sir. I wanted to ask a question about Pastor Alex. Maybe you could advertise his church, and I would be interested in going to his deal. I wanted to comment about Pete the Sodomite also. You got me going. And I want to refer back to Barney Frank, who is a representative. His lover was a black man that was the head of Freddie Mac or Fannie Mae. Can't remember which. But I remember that they paid him $90 million. I think it's back in 2008 when it had that tremendous scandal, whatever. They paid him $90 million to get out of, resign from the position of the head of that. I remember that.
Yeah.
Can't prove it, but what I'm saying is this sodomite that we've got as head of the transportation, he'll do, all them people do exactly what they've done in the past. They'll come out of there with millions and millions of dollars. And this deal, we can't solve this deal. I think the only one that can solve it is the Lord, and he's going to kill a bunch of us. That's the only solution. I see that. That's what I see. I'd like your comments, and I'll hang up.
Well, let me say something to you while you're on the phone here, real quick. I am very blessed to have the friendship and the ability to have Pastor Alex Lissau on my program, and he is the pastor. He is the pastor of the Zion Lutheran Church in Burley, and we announce that every beginning of the segment and at the end of the segment, and I absolutely tell you that I've known him for many, many, many years. He's not only a friend, but he's a man that you can really trust, because if he says something, that's the way it's going to be. There you go.
I believe it. My wife played bridge with Barb. Barbara, yeah. Anyway, I have to get a hold of him, and I'd be interested in visiting with the man. I'm older than, about his age, but anyway, I appreciate your program. I just had to call in.
I appreciate.
Give my 2 cents.
All right, your calls are always welcome. Thank you very much. One of the things that really bothers me about Buttigieg or whomever would be the transportation secretary coming out and saying things like a major part of the plan to distribute at least 40% of the money going to disadvantaged communities, and then the quote saying there is racism physically built into some of our highways, and that's why the jobs plan is specifically committed to reconnect some of the communities that were divided by these dollars. Doesn't make any sense. There's not racism in everything. Next thing you know, there's going to be racism in drinking white milk. This is insanity. I'm late for the weather. I've got to get over there real quick. Stand by. Calls are welcome. Weather is brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And I want to tell you that these people are so efficient and so knowledgeable about helping you with your hearing health. They're right behind the Minidoka County Hospital across from the emergency room. And I urge you to call the number and make an appointment. 312-0957. Once again, that number, 312-0957. They really know, and they've got all the latest in technology to help your hearing health. Give them a call, make an appointment, 312-0957. Right now, here's Gino with the weather.
You might want to hold on to your hats today. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are going to be in a wind advisory. It's going to kick off at about 10 o'clock this morning and last until about 10 o'clock tonight. Gusts as high as 50 miles an hour and areas of blowing gusts as well. We are expecting a high of 56. Tonight, that's going to continue, hopefully tapering off as we move into the overnight hours. Low of about 26, gusts as high as 40 miles an hour. By tomorrow, sunshine, high of 60, just a slight breeze. Clear skies for tomorrow night with a low right around 34. That's a look at your weather for Zenith the Ram.
I'll tell you what, over at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, they help me, they can help you, and they have new treatment plan options, and they've got the latest in technology, and they've got really smart people over there serving and helping you. Make an appointment today. Call them, 312-0957, Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244. 1-866-927-4587. The border situation is getting worse every day, and Kamala Harris needs to get down to the border. All of us, all of the people listening to this program right now should sit down and absolutely pen a little note to the White House, to Kamala Harris, Vice President. Get down to the border and solve the problem. And I'm telling you, the shallow personality and the witless personality of Nancy Pelosi coming out yesterday and saying to the press, well, the Biden administration is doing a great job on the border. Oh, my goodness. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
It's just me. I just wanted to clarify something. You said white milk might be racist. They made that racist back in 2016.
Well, that just, it proves the idiocy of what I'm talking about. Absolutely.
And Kamala's not going to go down to the border at least for another month.
I don't know.
Got to get way, way out, even more out of control than it is now before she does anything.
I don't think that she is going to, quote-unquote, do anything. I think it's going to be just absolutely chaos because that's what they want. Thank you for your input. Appreciate it. Little kid standing alone in the desert, deserted. That's a tearjerker right there. I mean, when that little boy looked at the camera and he said in Spanish, "Can you help me?" and the Border Patrol agent put his arms around him and everything, you are not going to convince me in any way, shape, or form that that little boy or others of his age or younger walked all by themselves 1,500 or so miles to get up to the border. Not ever. This is meant to be a press tearjerker. He was left there, I believe, on purpose by evil, sinister people that should be beaten within an inch of their lives for what they've done to these kids. And once they're there and the press gets a hold of this and they do the filming and they do the taping, everybody goes, "Oh, those poor children, let them in, make them allowed to come into the country of the United States." It's all on purpose. And this evil administration, the worst I've ever seen, is guilty of utilizing the pain and suffering of these little children. It's beyond comprehension. I honestly feel, like Sharon had said earlier, it's nothing more than child abuse. Absolutely child abuse, child trafficking, whatever you want to say it is. And there is no penalty strong enough or tough enough to hurt these people if they're caught. I've got a few ideas, and they would involve going on a ranch and through a cattle chute, but never mind. I'm not going to go there. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hello, Mr. Bell. How we doing?
I'm mad. Thank you for asking.
How's your blood pressure?
High. Go ahead, caller. Go ahead, caller, please. I'm running out of time fast.
Okay. I'm the truck driver that calls in once in a while. I have figured out a new game that I do once in a while. When I get in the middle of a bunch of trucks, I get on the CB radio and I say, "God bless President Biden," and you wouldn't believe the cuss words that I've learned.
Well, I'll tell you what, my friend.
I've heard cuss words I didn't even know existed.
My friend, be real careful when you pull into a truck stop so that they can't really associate you with that message.
Yeah. Okay, well, you have a good day. Thanks.
Oh, God bless you. Thank you. You talk about stirring the pot and creating trouble. Oh, that's a good one. I appreciate that. I got time for another call. Give me a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. The severely overcrowded facilities, the very dangerous outbreaks of COVID, the towns and communities forced to pay for food, shelter, and medicine for these illegal aliens. I've got friends in many of these border towns and locations and ranchers on the border, and these people are at the end of the rope. Some of these people are so mad and frustrated, they honestly don't know what to do. Their own government, ours, the United States of America, not doing a doggone thing to help protect its citizen taxpayers. but catering to and demanding that little community. Look at Gila Bend, Arizona. They don't have the money to take care of just a busload of people that were dropped off in their town. Here, you take care of them, you feed them, you house them, you clothe them, you give them medical care. What is the matter with the American public looking in the rearview mirror saying that Biden should be president? This was insanity, and he's proving it every single day. I want to thank our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations in the Magic Valley with a big spring tire sale going on right now. Oh, they got all the tires, all the tread designs, all the sizes for all the vehicles. Oh, by the way, if you have trouble on the farm or the dairy and you've got flat tires and you need repair service, they've got the best of service trucks that are zoop right out there to make sure you get everything taken care of. They really provide service. They've got the best in tires, along with the best in brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, all of this and more. James and Buell, Dan on Pole Line in Twin Falls, Lane and Rupert, Mike and Jerome, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, the Twist family in Paul, and my buddy Trent on Overland and Burley. The best, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers. I got to cool down. I'll be back in 7. Oh, welcome back. Hour number 2 on Zeb at the Ranch, Thursday, April the 8th, and brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with, right now, a big spring tire sale. Stop in and see them today. And our friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Want to remind you, too, about our dear friends over at Hanson Mortuary, Joel Heward. What nice people they are. At 710 6th Street in Rupert, his family staff always serving families they serve with the best possible support and comfort. And remember this, always upholding the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Memorial Day coming up at the end of May. They're reminding you for the memorials for your loved ones, please get a hold of them. Call them. Make an appointment. 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. And Joel Heward also serving you and your family at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Okay. Oh, by the way, I want to get this in before we go any further. Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner. We've been telling you about all the new menu choices. You've got to stop in. You've got to try out all the new melt sandwiches. These are phenomenal. And they've got new desserts. I mean, finger-licking good. Oh, my goodness sakes. We're talking, have you heard about this? It's called the Snooki. All right, the Skookie for dessert. It's a warm chocolate chip cookie filled with molten chocolate and topped with vanilla ice cream and salted caramel. Oh, all of this and much more at America's Diner. Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley. Time to run across the river and through the desert to Penny's house we go. Minnecasia Chamber President and CEO Penny Main, good morning.
Good morning to you. How are you?
Peachy.
Well, good. It's a great day to be in business in Minnecasia. It's a beautiful day right now. That's for darn sure.
That is a fact. You know, hold on, though, because I expect that within an hour they say we're going to get maybe wind gusts of up to 60 miles an hour.
Oh, great. Thank you for really spreading that kind of joy and light upon my life today. I did not know that. Darn. That Idaho wind, what's up with that?
Oh, man, it's been really trying the last couple of weeks. Tough for a guy on crutches. I don't chase hats real well.
Well, it's just tough. It's tough to maneuver through the day with that wind blowing. I don't know. I finally gave up house cleaning because it seems like just when you get that done, you have to turn right around and do it again the next day because of the dust that blows through the house.
I think you should just shovel out the house once or twice a year and be done with it.
I'm gonna heed your advice.
There you go.
Heed your advice. That's exactly what I'm gonna do.
What's cooking over at the Chamber of Commerce?
Well, it's a busy day today. We've got our big chamber luncheon at Kaziani today. We're looking forward to that. Bill Kyle and Darren Kyle from McDonald's will be the guest speakers talking about leadership today and maneuvering through a pandemic. Going to be some real interesting, I think, insights on how to keep a business rolling, even an international business, if you will, rolling through this pandemic from 2020. And Bill's been a great leader for a long time, so we're looking forward to meeting with him today at noon. A couple of things coming up. Wilson Theater tomorrow night. Alex Boyer. If you've never heard of Alex Boyer, I highly suggest you Google him. He is awesome. He's got an extraordinary voice and puts on an incredible program. He'll be at the Wilson Theater tomorrow night at 6 and 8, 2 performances. And you can get tickets online at historicwilsontheater.com. This Saturday, some fun for the kids for about an hour, 11 to noon, at Nature Nursery and Market. Kids can enjoy games, prizes, treats, face painting, just kind of an idea of how to kind of do some fun things with your kids and kick off spring in a really great and positive, fun way. Contact Nature Nursery if you need some more information on that event. Saturday, from 11 to noon. And then Saturday night, we've been talking about this, the Mom Prom. This is a great night for ladies' night out. Lots of fun at the Burley Inn. And for a great organization. All proceeds will benefit the Crossroads Domestic Violence Shelter. So you don't have to be a mom necessarily, but everybody can dress up and go dance and have some fun and do some good things Saturday night for the Crossroads Domestic Violence Shelter. Again, it starts at 7 o'clock. Tickets at Eventbrite online at $20. At the door, $25 Saturday night, 7 o'clock at the Burley Inn. You know, and at the end of the day, the Mini-Cassia Chamber, we're all about connecting business to business, business to opportunity. We're open typically Monday through Friday from 9 to 5. You can check out our website at minicassiachamber.com, like us on Facebook, or you can stop by the Riverside Park right here on the beautiful Snake River, Monday through Friday. We'd love to see you. We've got lots of appointments coming up over the next couple of weeks, adding new members. We're looking forward to that. We're growing. I think people are ready to get back to business and moving forward. I know we certainly are over here. Phone number 208-679-4793. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Hey, Penny, by the way, how long have you been the president and CEO at the Mini-Cassia Chamber of Commerce?
It's hard to believe, but I'm about a month shy of being here 2 years.
Wow. And I don't mean to put you, I don't want to put you on the spot.
Let me tell you.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but really, you've done a tremendous job over there. What do you consider to be the greatest accomplishment that has happened with your being the head of the Mini-Cassia Chamber of Commerce?
Well, first of all, you will always hear me say, and I mean it with all my heart, I am only as good as the people who surround me. This is a very small staff. There are 2 of us who work in this Chamber of Commerce. We could not do it without a great board of directors which supports us every single day, day in and day out. And you finger that out into all of our members who support everything we do. For instance, our golf scramble. We decided to put it in June again this year, and we were sold out as far as sponsorships goes. We have a waiting list right now for teams already. It's not just about me. I just really believe that the good Lord has surrounded me with really great people to make this happen. And people after 2020 are really ready to do business.
Mm-hmm.
They're ready to do business. They're ready to get out and start living again, and we're all excited about that. For me personally, I would just say that I have always tried to be my entire life all about relationships. And I think that's key when it comes to doing business and being successful, because it's tough doing it on your own, and I do not have the capability to do that, Zeb. But I am really blessed by really great, extraordinary people, and I believe in relationships. I think that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. And I want to compliment you again on the excellent job that you and your staff do. But now it is time for the trivia contest. Every Thursday we have to ask you a question, and I'm going to put you on the spot today. You are, of course, I'm sure, familiar with actor Tom Selleck, correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead, please, and name 2 of his better movies?
Movies?
Yeah.
Tom Selleck?
Oh, yes.
All I can remember is that Magnum PI gig he did for a long, long time.
Oh, no, let me share with you that this man has over 20 big motion pictures to his credit.
I have no idea. I am a loser again today.
Well, I'll give you
a movie, and I'm going to be really embarrassed once I hang up on this phone call.
Well, you know, of course, that he had 2 great TV series. He still does have one of them. Blue Bloods is currently on, and the former was, of course, Magnum PI. But he starred in some excellent movies that are played back many, many times during the week on various channels that replay movies. One would be, and everybody knows this, Quigley Down Under.
Oh, my gosh. Isn't that the truth? I forgot all about that. That was 20 years ago, had to be, right?
Yeah, or more. And then, let me see. I'll give you that exactly here. Hold on. I think I've got that on my sheet. Yeah, I wrote down 1990. Holy smokes, that was a long time ago.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
And then, how about 3 Men and a Baby?
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
With Kirstie Alley and
yeah.
I remember who else was in that movie. I just forgot about him. Oh, my gosh. Okay. Well, gee whiz. There you go, Pen. One more time.
Well, you did good, though. And I'll give you one that I think really it's played back all the time on various sports channels and other channels. Mr. Baseball. Do you remember that movie?
I do.
Yes.
Briefly, I do. I forgot all about that one, too. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, you got me again, Zeb. I'm sure you're feeling great about that.
Oh, no, I'm very humbled. I'm so bad that I put you in a negative position, but I can't wait till next Thursday.
I know, right? I know. It makes your day. Anyway, hey, thanks for all you do for us, Zeb. We really, really appreciate it. God bless you.
No, same back at you. President and CEO of the Minnecashi Chamber of Commerce, Penny Main. Thank you for being on the program this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you, friend. Have a great day.
You
Bye-bye.
bet. Thank you. Hey, don't forget our dear friends at Cameron and Siemens Insurance. These are people that really care, and they're accessible and devoted to serving you. That's right. Excuse me as I almost choked to death. The best of life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and more from a staff that's dedicated to serving you. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. What do you do? How do you make an appointment? Easy. Just call them up at 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. They are there to serve you, Cameron and Siemens Insurance in Rupert. Right now, let's go to the phone line, and I'm looking forward to talking to my old... He's not on the line? Okay, well, we'll wait.
Still trying to get him on the line.
Okay, we'll wait until you do get him online then. We're going to be talking to Nick Greenwell in just a moment at Burley Physical Therapy and Elite Fitness. Coming up at 9:30 this morning, we've got a gentleman from Texas. His name is Richard Battle, and primarily we're going to be talking about the border and the lack of caring from the Biden administration. Richard is a fifth-generation Texan. He's going to be on the air. And the rest of the morning, we've got at 10:06 Cache County School Days with Debbie Critchfield coming on the program. And then at 10:32, a gentleman that's been on our show before, Dr. Stephen Hotze, is going to be talking about the COVID-19 and some of the mutant strains that are occurring around the world, and some of which are coming here. Let's check and see if we've got Nick Greenwell on the phone.
He's not answering his phone. I'm going to try the other number.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Sean. Well, we'll just sit here and kind of stare at the ceiling, stare at the lights, and wonder what in the world we're going to do next. Give me a call at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I talked to Josh over there yesterday. Josh, of course, is Nick's son, and he said that Dad is going to be available to take the call this morning, so we're trying to get get a hold of him right now. Sean, of course, at the main studio, dialing the number and seeing if we can't get him on the air. There's a lot of things going on at both locations, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, and then also their sister business, if you will, Elite Fitness at 1200 Oakley Avenue in Burley. So we wanted to check with Nick and kind of catch up on anything that's changing or any updates, and that's why we're trying to get a hold of him. How are we doing, Sean? Are you catching anybody?
Nick's not available, and Josh isn't either.
Well, maybe that call coming in, we'll take that instead. We'll just kind of forego it for this morning then and see if this call is for us. Caller, if that's for this program, you go right ahead. You're on the air. Thank you.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead, please.
This is a warning notice.
Okay.
You need to take your wife's windmill inside because 60-mile-an-hour winds don't do it any good.
You know, it was the high winds that we had, 3-4 weeks ago that were the demise of those windmills. And with gusts up to maybe 60 miles an hour today, stand out in your front yard and you might catch the pieces as they fly by.
Well, that's something, but it's just very simple. You just lift it up and bring it into your house and soothe it a little bit by petting it.
Okay.
And it'll be okay.
All right, Keith. I appreciate it. No, seriously, if the winds do progress to that level, 60 miles an hour, very dangerous. Be careful out there and hold on to your hat, believe me. Thank you for your call. I do appreciate it. Thank you. Good guy right there. Appreciate it much. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give us a call. Normally this time is reserved for our friends over at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation along with Elite Fitness at 1200 Oakley Avenue in Burley. And for some strange reason this morning, evidently we're not able to make the connection, so we will take calls from you at this time. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I really did not want to pick on this woman, and I didn't really want to pick on her article that she had in the Times News, but I feel compelled to do so because there were a lot of vagaries in her story. Linda Brugger, a retired Air Force person and living in the Twin Falls area, writes occasionally op-eds for the Times News, and she had written one called The NRA's Hidden Gun Agenda. It was in the paper the other day. And some of the things that she wrote really kind of vague as far as what her meaning was. And I'm going to try to get her on the program and try to ask her questions about, does she want the National Guard to basically review any and all gun licenses and permits to see if people like myself and others can own guns? And is she suggesting a permanent gun licensing be handled by the National Guard? Little statements that she made, I'm a little bit more than worried about, and we're going to try to get her on the show. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zebediah.
Yes, sir.
I hear they're going to take April Fool's Day away from us, too.
Oh, really?
And the fools are in Washington.
You know, Bob, it gets a little old after a while. Sometimes I'm always worried about every day chastising government and politicians. But my goodness, where we're at right now after just almost 3 months of the Biden administration, you're a tad older than I am, but have you ever seen anything like this that's an assault on the values of America like this Biden administration?
Never before, and we probably won't ever get to see it again because something's got to happen.
Well, when you say something's got to happen, what's your inference there?
Well, for example, they want to take our guns away from us, and I think there'll be some bloody noses and some blood on the ground before they get that done.
What about, I was just making a reference to an article I read in the Times News, an op-ed piece by Linda Brugger that writes occasionally for the Times News, and the gist of the story, the way I got it, is that basically she wants the state's National Guard to issue permanent gun licenses to people like you and me and have the National Guard get involved. I'm not sure about what she was thinking about, but what do you think about the National Guard telling Bob whether he can have a gun or not, or pulling his license?
You know, Zeb, I just don't know what's going to happen. I just don't know how everything's going to come about. Like I say, I think there's needs to be a revolution and get this thing stopped and get that jerk. I don't want to call him a jackass because there's some good jackasses around the world. But we got to do something.
Well, and you're right. No, I appreciate your call. I really do, Bob. Thank you very much. The minute you say that something's got to be done to restore the values and integrity and sense in our government, I mean, look at fuel. Look at fuel. In January, before Trump left office, it was down. Sure, gas and diesel has been high, but, you know, $2.26, $2.28 right there. It was a livable price right there. And we were an efficient fossil fuel nation. And then all of a sudden Biden comes in with a complete closure and a disdain for fossil fuels, wants to absolutely eliminate them, and the prices are going up, up, up. People are having to make decisions as to whether or not they can go buy groceries, whether or not people that need dialysis can go in 2 or 3 times a week. People are having to make decisions as to whether to go anywhere because they don't have the currency in their pocket to just buy fuel. This is insanity. They are wrecking that part of our lives. Everything else is going to be determined by the cost of energy because inflation will go up on every single product. We are looking at... Yes, go ahead, please.
The lost has been found.
Quickly, I've only got 2 minutes left. Good morning, Nick. You're on the air. Where have you been? I want a complete explanation.
I've been in about 18 different directions this morning. I apologize. I had a little incident at the gym I had to go deal with, but all is well and everybody's safe and sound.
Oh, that's good. Listen, real quick, because I am almost out of time, I wanted to feature a little bit about the great physical therapists and their education that you have over at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. I mean, whether it's Jeff or Josh or whomever it is, all these people are highly trained. They know everything about physical activity, muscles, how to kind of reinvent the wheel, if you will, to get people back healthy again. You should be really proud of the people that work there.
I am extremely proud of our staff over there. We have a really nice mix. In physical therapy in particular, especially in a smaller area like Burley, Idaho, you don't get to specialize, so to speak. You know, if you were in Salt Lake or Boise or somewhere, you might go to a therapist that just works on shoulders or just works on knees or whatever. And so we pride ourselves in being very well-rounded and having a very well-rounded team in that we have a handful of therapists that have done a lot of training in sports rehab, and a few have had more training in working with kids or geriatric work or even burn and wound care, things like that. And so, yes, we pride ourselves on being very well-rounded, and we continue to get education all along. We always have continuing education courses that we're trying to push the boundaries on. I've got a young lady that's getting ready to specialize in women's health issues, chronic pelvic pain things, and we're getting ready to launch a sports program this summer to help athletes prepare for their fall sports and try to prevent having ACL injuries, which we're seeing a ton of, and just above and beyond on all of that. So, like you say, I am super proud of who we have and what all we can provide to the community in such a comprehensive manner.
Absolutely. Elite Fitness at 1200 Oakley Avenue, helping people get fit and stay fit. And then if you have a surgery or an accident, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, and all the great physical therapists to help you get back to being you. And the telephone number to call, 678-1191. Nick, I am so sorry that we had a shortening of our segment, but we'll have a bigger one next week, I promise.
We will. I apologize. I'm just glad everybody's okay.
All right, my friend. Take care of yourself. Thank you. Nick Greenwell, a man that I really respect and admire for what he's done for your physical health. Thank you very much. Okay, in just a moment, we are going to get our next guest on the line from Texas, and he is a fifth-generation Texan, long-time Lone Star State businessman, and he's written a book called Navigating Life's Journey, Common Sense in Uncommon Times. Oh, I hope he sent a copy to the Biden administration and they really sit down, highlight it, and dog-ear it. They need to read it. Good morning, Richard Battle. How are you?
Sorry, I'm still trying to get him on the line.
Okay, we're trying to get Richard on the line here this morning and talk about his book, talk a little bit about the border situation and Texas in general. Very independent state with independent thinkers, and I love Greg Abbott as their governor, and we're going to get Richard on momentarily. Coming up later this morning, Cassia County School Days. Don't forget, Debbie Critchfield will be our guest, and then our business salute will be Curtis from Patterson's Electronics. Looking forward to that. And then at 10:32 this morning, talking about the COVID and what it is, what it might do with the mutant strains. Dr. Stephen Hotze will be on at 10:30 this morning. Richard Battle, Texan. Good morning, sir. I've already given you a great big build-up about your book. How are you?
Zeb, thank you so much for having us on the air, and my mother would be appreciative of the build-up you gave us.
Well, I'll tell you what, I want to hear more about this book because I said just a moment ago, I hope you sent a copy of it to Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, Navigating Life's Journey, Common Sense in Uncommon Times. Explain the book to us a little bit.
Well, first thing is, if common sense were common, we wouldn't be talking about it. So it's not very common, but this is the second book of common sense that I've done in the last couple of years, and basically it's 40 bite-sized chapters of principles that celebrate American values. And if people are discouraged about where the country is, it will encourage them. If they're down, it will lift their spirits and inspire them. It will help them to believe in the country and themselves again so that they can pursue their dreams. And it has 250 examples of people, places, and events that just show what a great country we have. Despite what we're going through now, there's still opportunities to become who you want to be and live a good life.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. We're going to take a call, Richard, and then we'll have more with you. Stand by, caller. Go ahead. You're on the air, please.
Hi, Seb. I haven't called the show for a while. I haven't been listening, but I'm curious what your attitude is on the Mike Simpson situation with the taking out our dams on the river.
Well, I tell you what, I'm in the middle of an interview right now with a gentleman that has a book from Texas, and I will be more than glad to give you my attitude about Mike Simpson and the possibility of dam removal. I think it's absolutely a frivolously stupid idea, and that gives you kind of a clue as to where I'm headed on that issue. But I apologize. I'm in the middle of an interview, and so I'll take your call and address it at a later time. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Richard, tell me a little bit more about this situation down in Texas. I've got to know, what part of Texas are you in?
Well, I actually live west of Austin, but I was married to a lady for 20 years from Laredo, Texas, and so because of that and business involvements I had, I've spent time on the border many times. And the situation is unique this time, and talking with you is an example of it because I've never had as many opportunities to address an issue as this border issue. And what it's confirmed to me
is that what used to be a regional issue, when we had this problem at a much smaller scale before, no one in the country cared about it except California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas. But yet now it is a raging issue across the country because President Obama nationalized this issue when he dumped thousands of illegal aliens into towns across the country. And those towns had to pay to support those people by food, housing, health care, school, and other things out of real tax dollars and not federal printed dollars out of Washington.
You know, Richard, I've traveled all over the United States. I've rodeoed all over the United States, announced rodeos in your great Lone Star state of Texas, many, many locations and times. And I have a lot of friends that live along the border, whether it's Texas or Arizona, California, etc. And our citizens, our taxpayers, are absolutely living in a state of worry, shock, and fear every day, and our government is doing nothing to protect our citizens. How would you respond to that?
Well, I think that's the absolute truth. And I heard you mention the vice president, and the press is trying to press her about going down to the border. Well, after 15 days, I think that's the wrong question right now. My question would be to President Biden. You gave a directive on March 24th for the vice president to pick this issue up and take care of it. To date, there's been no action. How do you deal with an insubordinate employee? That would be my question, because that's a question of leadership, and you cannot let an employee be insubordinate at the VP level or at any level in the government or in any organization.
I agree with what you said, but then I would come back and ask you this. Why and how have we let this situation get exacerbated to the point where we, the people, we don't have any power in our voice anymore? What can we do?
Well, I think that's a really, really good question, because this shows the result of I'll say the election, although there's questions about that, as many of us still have. But the change in policy has totally changed the situation, because the policy before, where we said you had to come legally, which every naturalized citizen I've ever talked with agrees with 100%. You have to come legally. If you come illegally, we will deport you. Now we say don't come, wink, wink. We're letting people into the country even without processing them if we catch them. And who knows how many people are coming in beyond the 170,000 last month that we intercepted, for example. So the change of policy has created a magnet. And the interesting thing to me is the administration is not a proponent of capitalism, yet the cartels south of the border are operating a capitalistic economy and making upwards of $14 million a day, trafficking people into our country illegally.
Richard, if this problem, and it is a severe problem of the people that I've talked to on the border and various senators, etc., if this problem goes like it is, unchecked, for another 30 or 60 or even 90 days, what does the future look like as far as the total chaos that's coming into this country?
Well, I think the first thing is people are trying to press the administration to call it a crisis. I think we're moving past crisis to a catastrophe. And it is a national security threat, it's a financial threat, and it's a health threat because of the gang members and potential terrorists coming in, the COVID coming in, and the financial drain not only on the federal government but on local and state governments throughout the country.
You talked about the COVID, and I want you to elaborate a little bit more on that, because I absolutely have said many times on this program, it's absolute asinine attitude to tell me to wear a mask or 2 or 3 masks, social distance, and maybe if you're good little boys and girls, on the 4th of July you can go outside and have a barbecue with some of your closest family members, whereas they're letting these people across the border that are COVID positive, they're letting them go all over the United States, and we're going to see recurrence after recurrence of the COVID as more of a problem. What are your thoughts?
Well, absolutely, and the way the federal government has handled it and is handling it undercuts their argument about the severity of COVID. And again, first, there's no telling how many people are coming in that we don't intercept, and they're going God knows where all over the country. But the ones we do intercept, the federal government was not doing COVID testing. The only COVID testing was being done by local officials. So, for example, in Brownsville, as of several days ago, they had over 300 positive tests alone. And so there is an issue with COVID coming into the country and how it's handled, as well as the precedent that the federal government in not making it a big deal for the illegal aliens.
Let me get your thoughts. We know, of course, that Joe Biden is nothing more than a puppet figurehead sitting in the Oval Office. But let's assume that in 3, 6, or maybe 9 months or a year, Joe is gone and Kamala Harris is sitting in the Oval Office as president. What are your fears with her as the leader of this country?
Well, I fear that she'll push what the agenda is that we're seeing right now even further left and even faster than it is, because she has the cognizance to be able to go out and speak to the agenda better than Joe Biden does at this point. And so I think they will continue to push harder and faster as long as they can. And that's my big fear.
Let me talk more about your book. Tell us, Navigating Life's Journey, Common Sense in Uncommon Times. Can you give us kind of a breakdown as to chapter by chapter what you're trying to get the readers to understand?
Well, again, what I'm trying to do is give them some life examples. I'll use personal stories, and then I'll use stories of historical or current people as examples of how they can be inspired, for example, to pursue their dreams. And Jen Bricker is one of the examples I use in the book. And she's a professional gymnast now, but she was born with no legs.
Oh, my.
Her parents put her up for adoption. And her family told her that the only word she couldn't use in her vocabulary was can't. And she started training to be a gymnast at 7 and played basketball and softball in high school with no legs. And she had a desire to be a gymnast, and she achieved it. And when I see someone like that, it makes me think of myself and others, how we can achieve more than we think we can if we'll pursue our dreams and overcome the obstacles that are before us and don't quit.
Wow. I mean, if everybody would utilize their talents that God has given them, we would all be better off. But with government infringement into our private lives like it is now, I'm 73 years old. I'm an old man. But I have never seen in 73 years more danger signs as to the stymieing and stopping people from using their talents to try to succeed. Would you agree with that?
I would absolutely agree, but I would point out that despite that, there's opportunity, and the people that we look back at 10 years from now who will be big successes will be pursuing their dreams today. And one of the examples I like to talk about things can always be worse than what they are. And I've certainly lived through tougher years than the COVID year, but I talk about the example of Leningrad, which is now St. Petersburg in Russia, and how the Germans encircled them in December of 41, and for 872 days laid siege to that city. And 800,000 to 1 million civilians died of starvation and disease. And it was so bad when a family member died, they just put them out on the street, and a horse-drawn wagon would come by daily to pick up the bodies and bury them. But yet that city survived, and it is thriving comparatively now. And I don't know how dark it will get going forward, but I know that there will be people that will overcome and succeed and build good lives for themselves.
You know, right there you touched on the way I wanted to wrap up this interview somewhat, is I think there still are enough good people with good concepts and the will to want to achieve that we can turn this country around. But boy, the next 4 years, it may be very tough.
Well, yes, and what I tell people, when we're discouraged, there's a tendency to want to give up. And none of us can do everything to turn this around, but all of us can do at least one more thing that we might be doing now. And so I would say get your passion and pursue it. And so whether it's a school board, city council, whatever it is, find the one thing where you can help make it like you would like and get involved and make a difference.
Let me insert something there, though, and ask you, with our education facilities the way they are today and the teaching on a very liberal slant to our youngsters, K all the way up to college, how do we change that unless we change the structure to put back pride in America? How are we going to change this?
Well, that is a great question, because my belief is it's not Democrat versus Republican right now. It's Americans versus globalists. And I think that we have to work the education system in multiple fronts. One, the local school district. Two, the state, where they select textbooks and do funding at the state. The liberals are working Washington very hard, and so we can't overlook being involved there as well. But I think homeschooling and private schools have a place also. And we have to reinstitute a pro-American history, as well as a civic pride, as well as being citizens versus subjects. We have to teach the difference and the benefits and responsibilities of citizenship. I
would imagine, just hearing your voice and your thoughts this morning, that whenever you hear stories on the news about critical race theory being indoctrinated and introduced into our school system, I'll bet you get fighting mad, don't you?
Well, I certainly am against that, and I'm against trying to divide people based on race, gender, or other type things. I'm old enough like you to remember when politics wasn't in everything, and when government wasn't in everything. And as we've allowed government to get into more and more, then politics is seeping into more and more areas as well. And that's a sad state for our country. And we have to be able to get back and reunite the country based on the love of America and us wanting to have individual liberty and freedom to do what we want to do.
Absolutely. The book is called Navigating Life's Journey, Common Sense in Uncommon Times. Where can we find the book?
Good question. My website is richardbattle.com, which has all of my information about books and speaking. You go to Amazon, look at Richard V. Battle, and all 7 of my books would show up there.
Are all the books basically in the same vein, or quickly give us a short synopsis on your other writings?
Well, that's interesting. People always ask me what genre, and it took me about 6 books before I figured out that everything I write is based on personal growth. I don't like to use the term self-help, because 2 of the books are faith-based. They all have Judeo-Christian values, but they're all designed to share experiences and try to help people in their lives based on experiences I've had or things that I've learned.
Absolutely. Richard Battle, I absolutely have enjoyed having you on the program. Again, the book is Navigating Life's Journey, Common Sense in Uncommon Times. Please come back. I'd love to have you back on the show.
It'd be my pleasure, and we say God bless America.
Amen. Thank you very much. Very nice gentleman right there out of the Lone Star State of Texas. And I've got to get a copy of that book, Navigating Life's Journey, Common Sense in Uncommon Times. Richard V. Battle. I think I better get to the weather forecast. And the weather this hour, of course, is brought to you by our friends and your friends serving you, your family, and your business, Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, providing accounting services to the Mini-Cassia area for well over 50 years. The very best of tax return preparation, tax planning, business consulting, financial statement preparation, retirement planning, all of this and so much more. They really care. They've got offices in Burley and Rupert serving you. The professionals, Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And right now, here's Gina with the forecast.
You might want to want to hold on to your hats today. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are going to be in a wind advisory. It's going to kick off at about 10 o'clock this morning and last until about 10 o'clock tonight. Gusts as high as 50 miles an hour and areas of blowing gusts as well. We are expecting a high of 56. Tonight, that's going to continue, hopefully tapering off as we move into the overnight hours. Low of about 26, gusts as high as 40 miles an hour. By tomorrow, sunshine, high of 60, just a slight breeze. Clear skies for tomorrow night with a low right around 34. That's a look at your weather for 7.
I appreciate it, Gina, doing a great job on the weather, and we thank her for her effort. Brought to you by Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. You know, we've been working with them for a long time, and they do a great job of really caring about their clients. Like I said, with all the different tax return preparation, big time right now, tax planning, business consulting, they want to work with you and help you. So please get a hold of them today. Offices at 1710 Overland Avenue in Burley, 878-7000, and 620 Fifth Street in Rupert, 436-5607. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. All right, calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Gentleman called a little bit ago, and if he's still listening, I want to make my remark this way about Mike Simpson and his dam removal plan, and I'm not using that in a cursing fashion. That's what it is, a dam removal plan. I think it's absolutely shot full of holes like Swiss cheese with unanswered questions and a lack of study before points were made. I think I've read it, I've looked at what he said, and I think it's absolutely not going to work. I think it's going to be devastating for the Northwest. I think it's going to be devastating for agriculture. I think it's going to put cost inhibitions into agriculture that could drive, and I think potentially will drive, many, many people out of business. I don't like the plan as it was put forth because I'll say it again, a lack of study on some very interesting points that should have been highlighted from some of the people that I've talked to that were at a meeting with Congressman Simpson. They walked away with the same thought, that there wasn't much preparation on various points that need to be addressed before talking about this dam cancellation. I'll let it go at that for right now. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a jingle. I would love to have you on the program. Let me see, have I forgotten anything from the first hour this morning? Oh, yes, one little story that we absolutely have to talk about. Yesterday on the program, we had Dr. Michael Busler, one of the best economists that you could ever visit with. He puts things out in very not limited, but layman's terminology so we can all understand it. Well, this morning, much of which he talked about yesterday coming to fruition with President Biden. Hang on to your hats, not because of the wind conditions today, because of the much higher taxes for all of us. All of us. We're going to be seeing inflation run rampant and high taxes. The president, which I have claimed, and I think others would agree, is nothing more than a howdy-doody of a president, someone else pulling the puppet strings, is going to hurt everyone at a time when businesses are just getting back somewhat to normal. Businesses are opening their doors. Businesses that were open and maybe only open for 25% business or less are trying to struggle and make it through these hard times because of COVID. And now, businesses faced with extremely high taxes that the Biden administration wants to introduce, this is absolutely insane. And I'd like to get your response on this. If you're a business owner and you're facing these extremely high taxes with this Biden administration, after you've gone through such a long and devastating bout with COVID, trying to stay open, keep the doors open, what are your thoughts? 1-436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Well, I'm waiting for your call. If it's coming in, I want to remind you, if you're hungry and starving to death, I know some great places to go to eat. Oh, I'll give you some examples. How about the AC Drive-In at 601 East Main in Burley? Shrimp baskets or fish and chip baskets. Oh, my goodness, delicious. Chocolate chip milkshakes. Oh, raspberry, strawberry, and cherry shakes. It's always good. Of course, with my favorite, the famous Farmer Brown burger at the AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. How about let's go over to Taco Bandito at 2301 Overland in Burley. Caller, I'll be there in just a second. Great place to go for your morning coffee and a breakfast burrito. Oh, my goodness, and they've got the new pork burritos, and they've got the street tacos. Everything on the menu is absolutely fantastic at Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. Moving over now to not one but two locations of Burgers Etc., 124 South Oneida in Rupert, 700 Overland in Burley. And after 3 o'clock in the afternoon, corn dogs or burritos, only $1.29. And they've got the Huckleberry Shakes, too. Great people, nice people serving you at both locations of Burgers Etc. in Rupert and Burley. And last but not least, how about Steve-O's at 290 South, 600 west of Hayburn? Food made the way you love it. They've got coconut or chocolate cupcakes. They got special hamburgers for the summertime, and the great steaks, the fillets, the ribeyes, and the tasty sirloins. Wow. When you don't want to cook, you go on over to Steve-O's, 290 South, 600 west of Hayburn, and those are some great places to go when you're hungry and starving to death. Caller, good morning. I've got 2 minutes.
Okay, well, here's one of the reasons they've got to raise taxes. They got to pay for all this COVID relief and this infrastructure crap, but didn't Obama and Sleazy Joe say, hey, we've got shovel-ready jobs and we're going to fix this infrastructure?
Yeah. Where are all these jobs, by the way? Where are the jobs that Biden promoted when green energy was going to be on the forefront, and all the Keystone Pipeline people, they said, well, you can leave that job and go get a green energy job. Where are these jobs?
I don't know. I think they have to get their passport ready to go to China.
Yeah, well, they've got to make sure they've got the COVID passport so they can get out of the country. This is ridiculous to say that these people, and I know a lot of the people on the Keystone Pipeline, they were said that, oh, well, you're going to have to find another field of endeavor. You're going to have to get another job. Well, where are these green jobs that Biden stood up and was promoting? That's my question.
In China.
Yeah. And I doubt seriously if you'll be able to fill out the resume and get hired over there.
Exactly.
Appreciate your call. God bless you. Thank you so much.
The shovels are rusting.
I agree with you. Thank you so much. Hey, we're going to take a little break, and we're going to go to the news right now and then come back with Cassia County School Days. Don't go away, Zeb at the Ranch. And away we go into hour number 3. Zeb at the Ranch, glad to have you with us. And, of course, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations with a really big spring tire sale. You better stop in and see them today. And, of course, don't forget to Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Before we go to our guest, I want to remind you, too, about our dear friend Jeff and the rest of the staff over at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. 459 Overland in Burley. It goes without saying that, believe me, they have the best of all your furniture needs, all your mattress needs, all your carpet and floor covering needs. I mean, absolutely. They get new shipments of almost everything every day. They've just got in a brand brand new shipment of real comfortable, beautiful sofas for your living room. And check out all the window coverings and, of course, all the floor coverings, the carpet, the tile, the vinyl, luxury vinyl. Oh, my goodness sakes, everything fantastic. And people that really care about the comfortization and the beautification of your home. At Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley, open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, Saturdays, 10 to 4. Right now, it's time for Cache County School Days, and I really look forward to this segment every week because Cache County can be very, very proud of their superintendent, the staff, and all the people, and especially this lady, the Cache County School Communications Officer, Debbie Critchfield. Good morning. How are you?
I am well, and good morning to you.
Well, I guess we're supposed to hold on to our hats this afternoon. It's going to get a little bit windy.
Sounds like the typical spring in Idaho.
Absolutely. You know, Debbie, as long as I've known you and as long as you've been a part of this program, helping supply the guests and even yourself, for being on the program, you've always been a straight shooter. And I'm going to come up with the first question I want to ask you about this morning. On a national level, and I referred to this with Dr. Shank last week, and I got a very good answer from Dr. Shank, and I want to hear also from you. On a national level, when you see the teachers in various big communities like L.A. or New York or Chicago refusing to go back to school and teach our kids, this is hurting, I think, the teaching profession all over the United States. Would you agree or disagree?
Agree, totally.
So what do we do to change? What do we do, or what needs to be done to get rid of that image? Because right now, from the people I've talked to all over the country, whether it's in Nevada, whether it's in Wisconsin or Florida, I've taken my own little poll, and a lot of the people are using the same terminology. The teachers are acting like spoiled brats.
This may sound oversimplified, but I believe that developing the proper relationship so that teachers feel confident in their school districts helps. Now, it doesn't take care of everything, but when teachers feel as though they're protected in the sense of, I'm coming to my job, I'm going to be safe, I'm going to be looked out for, I know that my school district has my back, in any circumstance, I think people are more inclined to maybe take a risk if, well, I'm not sure what COVID's going to look like this year, but I believe that my school district will take care of me. Those types of things help change attitudes. And I don't know if it's an Idaho thing, if it's a Cache thing, because frankly we haven't seen that everywhere in our state even. But having those open lines of communications, what are your issues, what are your concerns, here's how we can address them, here's how we're going to offer these protections. I know that we've had teachers in our own district that were very nervous about coming back. They were nervous about their own health, they were nervous about bringing something home to someone that they lived with. We were all unsure back in August, and I feel as though our district and many around the state were able to provide a comfort level to say, okay, we're paying attention to these things, here are our strategies, give us, put some faith in us that we can help you be successful in the classroom.
Did you, as a district, have any major problems or conflagrations that all of a sudden made you want to rethink the situation, or did everything go fairly well?
I don't know that we ever rethought. I never heard any conversation from the board or from the superintendent about rethinking in person or 4-day. There were times where we had a number of classrooms and teachers in a building that were out because of COVID, and in those cases we kept everybody out of the building for a day. But we adjusted and made decisions according to the circumstances. But I think one of the strengths of what we've been able to do here is that we had a goal, and it was to have kids in school in person. And so you work backwards from that. What do we have to do to make sure that we can keep that? Now, not everybody in the community was rallying around that approach, to be honest. I was the recipient, and it was to me personally, and then also asked to send emails to board members. I had somebody say, I hope, you can live with yourself. You're going to have blood on your hands for having our kids back in school. And so there's all sorts of attitudes on how to do that. But for the community and for our board, and for me, I believed in it as well, that we wanted to have kids in class.
I had and Sean, I got a little feedback on the line if you'd help me out, please. I had a very good conversation with Superintendent Shank last week. I really liked his answers and his forthrightness on all the issues we talked about. But when you look at education right now, Debbie, and you are so heavily involved in it on a state level, and you look across the board from Los Angeles to San Francisco to maybe Las Vegas, all the way back to Chicago, all across the country. Right now, I'm going to say this as a layman, and you can correct me, but I think we have a fractured education system with many kids still not in school, still online, still not being cared for, and I don't see how as a nation we can recoup from this. Am I right or wrong?
No, you're right. It's going to take years. I think one of the biggest travesties for our kids across the country is exactly what you've described, that there are places, and it's not just here and there, spots here and there, where students have yet to go back to school. It absolutely is mind-boggling to me. I appreciate the fact that in many places, as you pointed out, Detroit, Chicago, Los Angeles, San Francisco, that they have thousands and thousands of students that they're having to work with. But I refuse to accept that planning couldn't have allowed for some type of student-teacher face-to-face interaction.
Well, I guess what I'm going to say at that juncture is there too much of the federal bureaucracy playing into our education system?
Well, maybe. I'm not sure exactly on... I think when it comes to the decision-making, local boards are locally elected. You can't pass the buck on that. You got elected in your communities to serve your communities and to reflect the expectations of your communities. And so I think there's been this huge finger-pointing exercise when people don't want to step forward and say, this is the decision and this is how we're going to get there. Because it's hard. And it's a lot easier to say, well, we'd like to be in person, but this person says this and the federal government says that, and here and there. We have so many examples of boards that said, this is what we're going to do, and we're going to get it done.
You know, I was talking to my grandsons. I have 5 grandsons, and during the COVID shutdown, reopen, etc., and to a person, they severely missed the in-classroom, in front of a teacher and with their peers learning, and each and every one of them said that it was absolutely devastating to their education to do it online. How would you respond to what they said?
That is the same thing that I've been hearing. Like you, I've got family members in California and other places that they're just it's sad. It's sad for parents to see and recognize that their child needs that interaction and it needs much more than that. It's not just the academic, but it's all of those relationships and the connections. And how you started this subject of what. Are we going to feel the impact for this, or that we are going to feel the impact of this for years? We are. And that's going to cause some adjustments and some changes within the educational system because it's not going to just be the academic side that we're recovering from. We're going to have kids that have all kinds of needs, and clearly we're there to support academic needs, but it goes without saying that a child comes to school with everything that they're dealing with.
You know, I look at this thing, and I'm an outsider. You're the professional. But I look at this situation with education, and you said it's going to take years to overcome. And we're going to be looking at the labor force, whether people want to become doctors or whether they want to become lawyers or whether they want to get into any other professional branch that takes a lot of training. We're going to have a real slowness, if you will, of people that are going to be applying for those various positions, and that's going to hurt the entirety of America.
there's no question that there's an economic impact from this. And we know in Idaho, before COVID, that there was a shortage of skilled workers in the state. We've had fastest growing state in the nation. Our industry, the economy is booming, and those employers coming into the state were saying, okay, these are the types of skills and abilities that we need workers to have. And so we've been working through all of the education avenues to be able to satisfy those needs. And so I think right now Idaho is doing very well, and we're having more people move into the state because, as you know, looking to Idaho, gosh, everything has been better here compared to the restrictions of other states. And so it's going to be interesting to see how these two, well, not just those two, but how these variables play out.
In the larger school districts that are having a lot of problems right now across the country, where the teachers union has said, no, we're not going to go back, and I'm referring to like California, Chicago, and some of those areas, those kids, are they going to basically get I hate to use this word, free pass from that part of their education that's been lacking, and they're going to be propelled forward to take on new assignments and basically forget what they missed? I mean, how are they going to handle that?
I think that's a great question, and I don't know how you do that. We can't have 19-year-old sophomores. I mean, at some point we have to keep moving forward, and how does then a teacher, if you say, well, I guess we'll just kind of chalk this year up to a loss, well, then next year, is the teacher going to be responsible to teach 2 years' worth of instruction when they're at a fast pace for the one? And what about students who take a little bit longer to learn? Or what about students who are excelling and need more? And, this year it was, okay, let's get through the year kind of an attitude, but I want to move beyond that. We now need to start talking about how we're going to address it instead of, well, we got through the year. What's the plan now? We've got to take care of these things. We know what the issues are. Let's quit talking about them and let's have a plan.
Let me ask you about the next step above as seniors going into possibly college and university locations. What about those colleges and universities? Are they cutting back on available scholarships for various items and degrees? I mean, have they suffered a cutback also for students that aren't readily available to take on those scholarships?
What I'm actually hearing is that the same monies are available, but there's twice the amount of students that are competing for them. Because last year you had students that graduated from high school that didn't have some test scores, they maybe didn't have the grades that they needed, and universities and colleges said, okay, well, apply for these merit-based scholarships next year when we've got this information. Well, now we've got another class of seniors coming around, and so you have more students that, as I said, are competing and applying for the same amount of money. And so that's going to leave many students out of the needed scholarships to help them with their education.
You know, Debbie, I think that I said this to Dr. Shank, and I'll let you respond to the same circumstance. I said that the people of Cassia County, should be very proud and happy as to what happened in Cassia County with your education facilities, because you stayed open, the kids got a great education. How would you respond to what I said to Dr. Shank?
I agree with that. And I appreciate the accolades there. I would think that our board and hopefully our superintendent was the same, but we didn't do everything perfectly, that's for sure. And I think our district, I know I'm as concerned statewide as anybody is about our learning losses. What learning still needs to take place? What are the gaps? And what do we need to do to fill those in? Having said that, as you pointed out, we were able to keep a plan. We were able to keep our students in school and really weather those few months where we thought, okay, every day we didn't know what we were going to see or expect as far as the virus is concerned, but we kept pressing forward.
Last thought, what about the personnel? Are they copacetic with what it was and how it was handled and where you're going now into the future? The teachers, the workers at the schools, etc., were they happy with everything?
I think the majority have been. Clearly there's individual circumstances and everyone has a unique perspective and opinion. about COVID. I think that's one thing that I've learned when people made up their mind on how they wanted to live COVID and what they thought about it. No matter how much information came out, people, this is how I feel about it. But by and large, our teachers have been very supportive and have come to work every day. They care about their students. And again, we haven't done everything perfectly, but I think there's a lot to acknowledge.
Absolutely. I want to say thank you for all you do and how you've helped me so much on this segment, Cassia County School Days. Cassia County Schools Communications Officer Debbie Critchfield, a wonderful lady. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and take care.
All right. Thank you very much. I enjoy that segment and wonderful people within the Cassia County school system. We're going to have another guest on in just a moment, but first of all, I've got to tell you about a great big sale that's coming up this Saturday. It is the Herman Kruger Estate Auction, and it's going to be Saturday, April 10th, starting at 11 a.m. over in Jerome at 403 West, 50 South of Jerome. Look for the auction signs, lunch by the Cook Shack, and oh my, have they got some great items over there. Pickups and travel trailers and Jeep and a four-wheeler, tractors, loader, farm machinery, furniture and household goods, lots and lots of really good shop equipment, tools and supplies, yard and garden items. It's all there at the Herman Kruger Estate Auction coming up this Saturday, April 10th at Jerome location, 403 West, 50 South of Jerome, and managed by the Bennett Boys Auction Service. Remember, Joe Bennett and the crew, no sale too big or no sale too small. The Bennett Boys, they sell them all. Right now, we're going to go to the telephone one more time, thanks to my engineer, Sean, for getting everything ready for us. And we're going to talk to Curtis over at Patterson's Electronics, 421 East Main in Burley. Good morning, Curtis. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. Thanks for calling. How are you?
Oh, I'm just getting old, but I'll tell you what, I know that you've got everything over there. All the folks' electronic needs, home theater systems, surveillance cameras, complete sound systems. What do you want to feature this morning while I've got you on the phone?
You know, just a few things. We've got three things I want to mention. One is that we're starting to get the brand new Sony TVs in stock. But yet, I do have a lingering model from last year. I've got a 65-inch. Some of the big box stores are selling them for $8.99. We're selling the same TV for $8.49 in stock. We can come out and put it in your home today. The other thing I want to mention is, you know, for people that are looking for sound, bass sound for their vehicle, we've got an amplifier, the box that's vented, 2 speakers, all for $199.
Wow. I mean, I've told people on my program that I don't know anything about electronics. All I know is if you plug it in and turn it on, it's supposed to work. But you folks are the gurus over there, you and Lorena and the staff. You really can explain electronics to everybody, can't you?
You know, we can. One of the things that's kind of fun, I have a customer that decided he wanted to have 3 TVs all with the same source at the same time.
Oh, my.
And so we put and 2 of the TVs are wirelessly in remote areas of his house. And he wants to be able to move them around from inside the house, different places, to outside. You know, we hooked it up so he can do that.
I'll tell you what, you've got all the answers to all the questions. Tell us a little bit about some of the great products, like you've got all the TVs and all the home theater systems, video surveillance cameras. What all do you have in your inventory over there at Patterson's Electronics?
You know, right now today in stock, if somebody wanted to, you know, if somebody's building a house and they want to put some speakers in ceiling, have multi-room audio, multi-room sound, we've got the speakers and a variety of models that can help them with that. We've got outdoor speakers, indoor speakers. We've got vacuum systems if they wanted to have a central vacuum system for their home. Of course, receivers, DVD players, TVs of a variety of size from 43-inch up in stock. We have powered subwoofers, surround sound systems, sound bars that just are easy to mount, well, and easy for me anyway. I mount them to the TV so it's a nice, clean look. We've got mounting brackets that will extend as much as 28 inches away from the wall, so that somebody could turn the TV and watch it in a variety of locations, and of course fix and tilt ones as well. As far as we've got truck. If somebody wanted to have something to cover the bed of their truck and help be a little more aerodynamic, especially with gas prices shooting up, by golly, we've got a couple different types on display for people to look at.
Oh my!
We've got, of course, all the bass and sound that they could ever want. Speakers in stock from 3.5 inch up to 6x9s, and a wide variety of speakers there. Boxes that will meet most people's needs that fit under the seats in their extended, regular, or crew cab trucks. My gosh, we've got drop-down video pieces.
My.
So people can have video to entertain kids when they're traveling on vacations coming up this summer. I'm just getting started. I don't know how much more time I can take.
Well, I'll tell you what. I would like you quickly. I've got about a minute and a half left at the most. I'd like you to talk quickly. Also, you've got dehydrated food over there in stock.
We do. One thing that's great, who knows what's going to happen, but we've got dehydrated food. We've got 1 week, 2 week, a month. I've got mega protein kits in stock, gluten-free kits in stock. We've got, and all of the dehydrated food lasts for their 25 years. We've got scrambled eggs, oatmeal, somebody wanted to make some breakfast. We've got other meals, creamy chicken. And of course, as people buy this stuff, 3 or more, they can save dramatically on the cost of the product.
Absolutely.
We've got meat. We got 72-hour kits. We've got water. Online, they're selling the water for $69. We're selling it for $32, and that's a case of water.
Wow!
And Zeb, this is the fun part. It lasts for 30 years.
Oh my goodness!
So water lasts 30 years.
Well, I'll tell you, folks, this man knows, and he's got a wonderful location, easy to get to. Patterson's Electronics, 421 East Main in Burley. Curtis and Lorena, and the number to call, 678-6997. And they're open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6. You can learn a lot. You better stop over and check it out today. Patterson's Electronics. Curtis, God bless you, man. Thanks for being on the show.
You bet. Thanks for the work you do, and appreciate you, Zeb. Have an awesome day.
Thank you. You too. Thank you very much. I like those people, and believe me, I've learned a lot by talking to them about the various products, etc. Patterson's Electronics in Burley. Okay, let's send it back over to Sean. We'll be back in about 3 minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb.
Oh, thank you very much. Don't forget, of course, every Monday, and we're very fortunate to have this lady be back on our show again, Vicky's Country Gardens at 1046 on Mondays. And the lovely Miss Vicky will help us all with better and bigger gardens, and she's got a lot of information. Don't miss that. Sponsored by Vicky's Country Gardens on Mondays at 1046 right here on Zeb at the Ranch. Let me check over with my engineer. We had a change in telephone numbers in the last...
I'm having problems connecting. They can't hear me for some reason. Give me a minute.
Okay, he's going to check it again. The wonders of live radio, I'll tell you. Poor Sean. We just had a change of numbers called in. It wasn't more than a minute, 2 minutes ago, and so we're trying to reestablish another number with our guest to be on this last half hour of the program, Dr. Stephen Hotze, and we're hoping we can get him on the air in just a moment. Coming up next week on Monday, again, I want to remind you on Zeb at the Ranch, we're going to have Rick Manning, absolutely one of the best guests we could ever have, talking about our economy. Frosty Woldridge at 9:30 is going to be on talking about the border crisis. And then also, like I said, Dog Days with Deb Hines, and then at 1046, Vicky's Country Garden. We just talked to you about that. All of that and more guests that we still have to verify for next Monday's program. Deanne, do we have some people on with the guest that that number's not correct, or...
No,
The number is correct. Sean's trying it again to see if we can get through. And unless we can't get him, calls will be welcome at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Sean, are we able to get through?
He's working on it.
All right. Thank you, Gina. Evidently a little problem with the phone line, trying to establish it so that we can hear. And until we do get our guest on the air, I guess, again, calls are welcome and appreciated at that number I gave you, 436-2244. What's Deanne's got a message? This has kind of got me between a rock and a hard spot. Quickly tell me. They are going to call into the station. That's what I've just been told. So evidently they're on the lines. And by the way, Sean, good job. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, with us is a gentleman that's been on our program before, and he is the founder and CEO of the Hotze Health and Wellness Center in Houston, Texas, Dr. Stephen Hotze. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Zeb, I'm doing well. Greetings to you from the great state of Texas.
Well, I know that you live in one of the hottest, most humid places on the planet. You're tougher than I am, so God's blessings to you.
Well, thank you. We do have some mosquitoes and a little bit of humidity's only 95 in the summer with 95-degree temperature. Other than that, it's pretty cool inside.
Let me ask you, Doctor, you've written a lot of books, and you're the best-selling author of the book, Hypothyroidism, Health and Happiness. Tell me a little bit about that book as your latest. How is it going?
Well, listen, I've written 4 books. The opus book is Hormones, Health and Happiness, which includes a chapter on thyroid. The thyroid book, Hypothyroidism, Health and Happiness, is a chapter out of the original book expanded. So what we do here at the Hotze Health and Wellness Center is help people get on a path of health and wellness naturally. Zeb, when I graduated from the University of Texas Medical School in Houston in 1976, and by the way, that's 45 years ago, sir, 45 years. And I sat across from my dad at a banquet he threw for me, and my dad was a successful entrepreneur, manufacturer in manufacturing business in the oil and gas pipeline industry. And he turned to me and he said, "Son," I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Son, don't poison your patients like all the other doctors do."
Absolutely.
And that was not a command. I mean, that was not a suggestion or a recommendation. It was a command.
Mm-hmm.
And he planted that seed in my brain, which gave birth to the Hotze Health and Wellness Center. So what we do here is we help people, coach people on a path of health and wellness naturally, so as they mature, they've got energy, they got vitality, and they're enthusiastic about life without pharmaceutical drugs. It's a healthy eating lifestyle. We recommend keto-friendly eating program, good oils and fats, a lot of green vegetables and salads, and some meat. And we also recommend intermittent fasting. You don't need to eat 3 times a day, for crying out loud, in the bucket. And you sure don't need to eat all the junk food, the things in package can or boxes full of all kinds of chemicals. The vast majority of Americans, 70% are overweight. Half of those people, 35%, are obese, and that leads to all our health problems.
Absolutely.
It leads to diabetes, blood pressure problems, heart disease, kidney disorders, fatty liver, strokes, you name it. It leads to a host of health problems. And what I tell people is, look, if you come here to the Hotze Health and Wellness Center, don't come here expecting us to take insurance and let your insurance pay for it. We don't deal with insurance companies because they don't want you to be healthy. They want to get your premiums, and they want to deny your claims. They want to put you on drugs because they're all tied into the pharmaceutical group. If you want to take charge of your health and invest in your health, we're glad to help you, and we'll coach you on the path of health and wellness naturally. That's what we'll do. But you're in charge of your health, not your doctor, not your insurance company, not the government, not your spouse. You and you alone are in charge of your health. I'm in charge of my health, and that's what we've lost in this whole COVID plandemic, scamdemic that they pushed on us. Not once have I heard Fauci or Birx or any of these public health officials say, look, folks, the most important thing you can do is have a good, healthy immune system, and this is how you can do it. And you do it by what? Getting down to a good, ideal body weight, cutting out all the crappy food you've been eating, Get rid of all the simple carbs and all the sugar as best you possibly can. Replenish your hormones. Take vitamins and minerals to support your immune system. Get a good night's sleep. Exercise. Trust God and just live your life like you have for the last 10 years you've been alive and haven't died. I'm 70. Hey, Zeb, in what I've done, I've overseen the treatment of 40,000 individual patients. I've been in emergency room work. I've treated people with viral and bacteria, meningitis, pneumonia, dysentery, gastrointestinal problems, staph infections, balls all over the body, strep infections, pseudomonas, tuberculosis. Not one time did I ever wear a mask in the emergency room or in the office. I never quarantined myself, and I didn't quarantine my family or myself or my family when I went home. And we're all doing fine, thank you. I've got 8 kids, and I've got 24 grandkids. So there you have it. How did that happen without wearing a mask and social distancing? Oh, my goodness.
You know, Doctor,
pulling something over our eyes.
You know, Doctor, let me ask you this, and it's kind of a statement and a question, but every day when you turn on the radio or if you turn on the television or pick up the newspaper, the public is inundated with take this pill, try this, do that, take that for your health, etc. And you can't blame the American public for being confused and really not leading a very healthy lifestyle.
Well, if you can't blame yourself for being unhealthy, who in the heck can you blame? It's all propaganda, and people have to decide whether you're going to be propagandized like the communists and Nazis have done for decades. It's propaganda, folks. Turn off your TV. Hey, just the other day, I can't remember the gal's name that's the head of the CDC. She comes out and goes like, "If you got a vaccine, you won't have to wear a mask or distance yourself." Oh, that turned out to be wrong. 2 days later, they come out and say, "Oh, that's not right. Even if you get a vaccine, you got to distance yourself. You got to wear a mask." It's all about power, control, and money. I said this from the get-go, and if something seems stupid and incomprehensible, there's a money trail. What better business model, Zeb, could you or I have than if we made a product, we would have no liability, product liability. If it killed anybody or injured them, we'd have no product liability, and the government would mandate that everybody had to take it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It'd make us billions of dollars.
Well, let me ask you, where are we?
Games being played, folks, they're playing you.
Yeah.
And when we get to this so-called vaccine, Zeb, which you haven't asked about, but I'm going to tell you about, it's not a vaccine in historic sense. A vaccine, according to the CDC, is when you take a protein from a virus or bacteria or from a other organism like a fungus or something like that. You inject it; it's dead. You inject it in the body, and the body makes an immune response to it. It doesn't go into your cells. It doesn't stay in your system, and it's not alive. This so-called vaccine is really an experimental gene modification injection. They're taking mRNA. mRNA is like a thumb drive. They put a thumb drive into your cell with actions that it's going to command your cells to do. It's going to override your DNA. It's going to override what your cells are told to do by your own genes, and it's going to put in a genetic substance, mRNA, a messenger, from a drug company. And it's going to tell your cells to start producing a virus protein in every cell in your body. Why the Sam heck would I want my cells to be making virus proteins? If you want to give me a vaccination, which I wouldn't let them do even if they did, but if do it the old-fashioned way, where you put a kill bug in me and my body has an immune response, just like I did when I took a smallpox vaccine when I was a kid, or a polio injection back when I was a kid. It was killed polio virus, and when I got DPT shot. That's all I've taken in my whole life, and I haven't taken flu shots or anything since, and I'm 70 years old. I may die tomorrow, but nobody's going to say Dr. Hotze lingered. No way. So this mRNA they put in is like a thumb drive, and that thumb drive is going to tell your ribosomes, that's organelles inside your cells, to produce the virus protein. Oh, so you can make antibodies to it. Now your immune system is going to be hypercharged, and those viral particles are going to stick to your cells, and your immune system is going to attack those viral particles on your cells and cause autoimmune disease. This is the first time ever in history that the FDA has allowed a vaccine to be given, so-called vaccine, which is not, without going through published animal studies. For crying out loud in the bucket. this so-called vaccine, if you go to Moderna or Pfizer, it says in their website that it doesn't have FDA approval as a vaccine. It has emergency authorization, which is a whole lot different. Why doesn't it have approval? Because it hasn't gone through the experimental testing process. Well, who's being experimented? So then they're giving it without experiments on animals and no long-term human experiments. So guess what? You and I are we're the guinea pigs.
Right.
Thank you. Stay as far away from that vaccine as you would of rattlesnake in West Texas.
I've got a caller with a question for you, Dr. Hotze. Stand by. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
I 100% agree with the doctor about what he's saying about the mRNA vaccines. He was talking about, changing your lifestyle to change your health. If I make the changes he's talking about, how long would it be before I start seeing effects on myself, on my own health? Thank you very much. I'll listen off the air.
That's a good question. Dr. Hotze, I hope you heard that question. Respond, please.
Right away. Within the first week to 2 weeks, you're going to start losing weight. We recommend 2 pounds a week. If you get on a good, healthy eating program, keto eating program, and cut out all the simple carbs, that's the bread, pizza, pasta, cookies, cakes, and all the things we love, corn products, potatoes, rice, and all that, which simply converts to sugar. Sugar converts to fat. You want to lose weight? Cut the carbs, cut the bread, cut the desserts. But I love them. Well, get on a program for a month and cut them out. See how much weight you lose. Initially, you're going to lose 4 or 5 pounds of water weight in the first week, and then about 2 pounds thereafter. So you figure you lose 2 pounds a week for 20 weeks, you lost 40 pounds. Guess what? How many months is that? 5 months. You lose 40 pounds. You don't think that's going to improve your health? It's going to be tremendous. If you have adult-onset diabetes, type 2 diabetes, you can cure it. Get your weight down to an ideal body weight. You don't have to take insulin or metformin or all these drugs. Why don't you just get yourself healthy? Exercise. That's what you need to do. And by the way, let me tell you the most important thing you can do from a nutritional point of view on preventing viral illnesses, respiratory illnesses like flu or the COVID. Take vitamin D3. That's so very important. Studies have showed people with high vitamin D levels have low incidence of getting a flu or a COVID-like syndrome, and they have very minor symptoms. And I recommend to our guests at the Hotze Health and Wellness Center in Houston, Texas, I recommend 10,000 international units a day. Most Americans don't have enough vitamin D in their system. Why? Because we stay inside. How do you get vitamin D? Your cholesterol in your body that you make, which is an essential product of your body, is converted by sunlight into vitamin D. If you're not out in the sun, which most Americans aren't, we're inside. I don't care if it's summer or winter. If you go out inside in the summer, if you're inside, if you're working, you're inside in Houston, and I'm sure same way in Indiana during the summer it gets hot there. You're inside an air conditioner. You're inside of your business or home inside. If you go out, then you put a bunch of cream on you that blocks the UV light. And most Americans are low in vitamin D. Take your vitamin D. Vitamin D3 is inexpensive. In the Scandinavian countries, which are north of the 35th parallel, which is everything north of St. Louis, you have low vitamin D levels. You can't convert vitamin D 4 to 5 months of the year because of the tilt of the sun. You just can't do it. Even if you stay out in a bathing suit all day, you couldn't convert enough just because it's winter. Well, in the Scandinavian countries, all the countries north of the 35 parallel have higher incidence of flu and COVID infections than they do below. Down here in Texas and south. So what happens in Scandinavia, they fortify their food with vitamin D3, and they have a lower death rate than all the other countries around them.
Absolutely. Doctor, we've got another call with a question. Caller, quickly. I've only got 3 minutes left in this segment. Go. You're on the air.
Well, if you want to inform yourself about being healthy, it's real easy to do. You just have to get off your dead butt and do something about it. And you can have a great immune system, and you can be strong well into your later years. Now, on Texas and Greg Abbott and signing this, anti-vaccination, whatever it is, I know he did something there so you don't have to have a vaccination card and then this passport. I guess the state of Texas is doing well, and there's no chance it'll ever slip into the purple column anytime soon. I'll hang up.
Sir, it could easily slip in the purple column. And Greg Abbott only has a very weak vaccination executive order. He says that governmental agencies can't require a passport, but he's still going to allow businesses to require a vaccine passport. He's different than DeSantis. DeSantis in Florida says businesses can't have passports either. I like DeSantis, and conservatives in Texas love DeSantis. We think he's wonderful. He could be a presidential candidate.
Dr. Hotze, in the time I have left, which is limited, please tell my audience where they can find your books.
Okay. If they call 281-698-8698, put it up on your website, 281-698-8698, or call Hotze Health and Wellness Center. Go to DuckDuckGo or Google or anything. Call us up. Tell them you listened to me on Zeb's show. I'll send you a copy of my book, Hormones, Health, and Happiness, and do a 180, free of charge without any shipping expense. Call Hotze Health and Wellness Center. If you want a vitamin program for your immune system, call or Google Hotze Vitamins, Hotze Vitamins. We'll be glad to help you. Zeb, thank you. Thank you for taking a stand up there in Indiana.
I'm in Idaho, but by golly, both states are good states.
I'm sorry, I thought ID was Indiana. Idaho. Well, good for you.
Dr. Hotze, please come back in the future. I'll look forward to having you back on the program. Thank you very much. God bless.
You too, my friend.
All right, take care. Thank you. I really enjoy having him on the program, and one of these days I'm going to have him back in the near future, and we're just going to sit down and we're going to discuss the various programs on kind of a health and wellness type atmosphere and define everything, and I'll have him on longer than just 20 minutes. Dr. Stephen Hotze, founder and CEO of the Hotze Health and Wellness Center down in Houston, Texas, and the title of his latest book, Hormones, Health, and Happiness. And check it out. Caller, good morning. You're on the air quickly.
Never mind, they hung up.
All right. Thank you very much, Sean. I'm going to run to the weather real quick, and the weather brought to you this hour by Scarro's Meats. Don Scarrow and his excellent staff at 331 North Road, Jerome. Number to call, 324-7657 if you have questions. And don't forget, you can go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. Oh, my goodness. From the different flavors of the bacon all the way to the marinated pork ribs to the tri-tips to all the sausages and the bratwurst, everything for every occasion at Scarrow's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Right now, here's Gina with the forecast.
You might want to hold on to your hats today. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are going to be in a wind advisory. It's going to kick off at about 10 o'clock this morning and last until about 10 o'clock tonight. Gusts as high as 50 miles an hour and areas of blowing dust as well. We are expecting a high of 56. Tonight, that's going to continue, hopefully tapering off as we move into the overnight hours. Low of about 26, gusts as high as 40 miles an hour. By tomorrow, sunshine, high of 60, just a slight breeze. Clear skies for tomorrow night with a low right around 34. That's a look at your weather for Zebeth.
Gina, thank you very much, and brought to you again this hour by Scarrow's Meats. Don Scarrow. I got to get Don over here live in the studio to talk about all the delicious meats, and maybe I can bribe him into bringing over some brats. 331 North Road, Jerome, and that telephone number again, 324-7657. And it is so true. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Caller, I've got a minute before my last commercial. Go ahead, please.
Okay. I didn't get a chance to call that doctor or talk to him, but this health and wellness thing that you're supposed to see in your store window, the door of your store, before you go in, it's been sanitized and all that kind of stuff. What do you know about that?
I'm not going to...
Organization?
Well, I don't know that much about it, and if I don't know much about some subject, I'm going to let you know that. I'll do some research over the weekend, and I'll talk to you on Monday. But right now, I don't have the knowledge to give you a good perspective on it. I'll find out more, and then also I'll get you some more information on Dr. Hotze. Thanks, Keith. I got one more call, and then I've got to get off. Thank you very much. I'll check it out and get back with you, I promise. Caller, real quick. I've only got about a minute left.
Yes, Zeb, I wonder how come on the border with these kids, they don't follow the 6-foot rule. We have to follow it here in Idaho.
Yeah.
It looks to me like if they come across that border
and they're housed in buildings, they ought to at least be 6 feet apart.
Well, the idiocy in...
Anybody knows the answer?
I don't think there is an answer other than the government is doing more to protect the illegal aliens than they are us. They're letting them run rampant. They're letting them go all over the country from points of locations from the border. Indiana is getting them. I know we're going to be receiving many of them up here. California, you name it. And COVID is running rampant. And they're not following any guidelines whatsoever. Jerry, I'm running late. I got to run.
They ought to be kicked out of office for endangering the lives of the people of America.
I couldn't agree more.
All I've got to say.
I agree totally.
You have a wonderful day. May the Lord bless.
All right, Jerry, I agree with you 100%. Thank you very much. Don't forget our major sponsor, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations with a really big spring tire sale going on right now. They've got tires for all vehicles, all the SUVs, pickups, cars, horse trailers, boat trailers, all the tread designs, all the sizes at your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers. Stop in and save money at their big spring tire sale. And don't forget they've got the best in brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts and batteries. All of this at all the 7 locations. James and Buell, Dan on Pole Line in Twin Falls, Lane and Rupert, Mike and Jerome, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, the Twist family in Paul, and my buddy Trent on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers. Excuse me, got a little frog in my throat today. The Bible verse for today from Psalms 117, verse 8, it is better to trust the Lord than to put confidence in man. Amen. We are going to be back on Monday, 8:06. I want to thank Sean for his diligence over at the station. Does a great job running the board. And we always say at the end of the program, the way things were, the way things ought to be. The 4 words that mean the most to me, in God we trust. We will talk to you Monday at 8:06.